All right, welcome into Chalk Talk Social. It is Tuesday, April 7th, and the Michigan Wolverines join UCLA Women's as national champions of the college basketball world. It is their first Natty in 37 years. Dusty May becomes the third coach to ever win a title in year two with a team. Like we said it's like the third time we're saying this, the Kirk Cignetti of college basketball, Dusty May. We're going to get all into that. Our underrated receivers coming into this season. The Red Sox fans are pissed, demanding that they sell the team. Is that the right move? And some Bulls drama unfolding today with their front office up in flames. Of course, we're going to have Joey, the resident Bulls fan, Chicago guy, to go all into that. He's replacing or stepping in for Eman today. Joey, what's going on? How we feeling? Coming off the Illinois loss to UConn. Not to rub it in, but how we doing? Mm-hmm.
It was a hell of a year, and you just have to take it all in of how rare Final Fours are. And even like with Michigan for this game, right? This is the first Big Ten title for basketball in over 20 years. So, it was a rough Saturday, but it was an awesome run. And it's nice to actually have a team you care about win, because normally I'm in team losing or apathy. So kudos to Brett Underwood in Illinois. They had a hell of a team, and they got a star in Keaton Wagler, who's going to be a top NBA pick, and the rest of the entire Serbian Croatian national team hopefully comes back next year, and they can run it all back. But it's fun, and like you said with Kirk Cignetti, right? It's kind of cool. Finally, you have, Indiana as a football champion, Michigan as a basketball champion. So as much as everyone complains about NIL and all this stuff, that yes, these are bigger programs, high major, but they're Big Ten teams that haven't found the success in a long time, and bringing some love to their fans, right? Even Illinois being there for the first time in 20 years, right? I mean, they built great programs, but it might not happen without this new era of where you can go kind of do free agency. So it's fun. So until they get rid of it, I'll keep supporting it.
There you go. Hey, Big Ten, how we doing? Hell of a year for Big Ten. You get a football natty, you get the basketball natty, you get the women's natty with UCLA as well. Like everything cooking for the Big Ten right now for the national championship. So obviously this game was intense. The UCLA-Michigan game was awesome. It was heated. Michigan kind of owned the whole second half for the most part, but that was physical basketball. Refs were letting those boys play. In case you miss it, we can run through the recap really quick. So to start off, whatever hoop Michigan started shooting on that UConn had to shoot on in the second half, nobody hit a three-pointer. Like teams were they hit like 2 or 3 3-pointers all game on that hoop. So it was the
same thing happened in Illinois on Saturday.
Yep, there's always the cursed side of the court in these late games that it's noticeable. It happens every single year. But I mean, like I said, first half, it was Michigan tossing bricks from 3, but they were dominating points in the paint. But they said on the broadcast they were 0 for 16 outside the paint in the first half. But it was that size advantage that everyone talked about with Michigan all year that just ended up prevailing. UConn got into foul trouble right away in the first half, right away in the second half. It was a huge factor. They were up to 15 fouls with 15 minutes left in the game. And then obviously at the very end there, one of the UConn starters fouls out of the game down the with a minute and a half left. So Michigan, both teams started the second half slow. Obviously Michigan goes into the half up 4. They got bailed. Michigan got bailed out really by next to nothing going right for UConn to open the second half. They started with an 0 for 13 stretch shooting threes. Was absolutely brutal. They could not get shots up over Michigan's height down low. Johnson was just a menace down there. He was a beast. And as big as Mara is, Mara's a freak athlete for someone of that freakish size, man. But Michigan's first 3 of the game came at the 12:50 mark of the second half. And this is also what UConn started 0 for 8 in the second half off that hoop that Michigan could not hit a 3 off of either. So cursed hoop. Elliot Cadeau was just an absolute warrior for Michigan. Biggest difference maker all night. Like I said, Johnson, again, he was swatting everything left and right down low. Michigan was lights out from the stripe. Towards the end there, they missed a few, but they hit 20 free throws in a row, and it got close. They needed every single one of those free throws that they got in order to win that game, even though both teams were kind of turning the ball over. UConn's foul troubles. Michigan grabbed an 11-point lead with 5.5 minutes left, and UConn could just never close the game. I don't know. That's kind of the recap of it all, but what was kind of your overall thoughts on this one?
What was interesting to me was just frankly how close it was. I mean, everyone kept saying that Michigan-Arizona was the de facto championship game, and Michigan stomped Arizona in the Final Four. And this game, UConn never quit. I mean, Michigan dominated a lot of it, and UConn was right there the whole time. But I mean, I know more about Morris Johnson because he's from Chicago and went to Illinois, but man, he's just a menace. And I know Leddeborg and all the other guys get a lot of credit here, but Morris Johnson is just that double-double machine that can take over a game. And with the Axel hurt, it was needed. Of course, Mara, obviously, but it was needed. And it just kind of came down to the better team actually ended up winning the game. UConn's had a lot of luck. They're phenomenal, but that shot against Duke and everything, 19-point comeback to where Michigan, I mean, we'll get to some of their stats later in the show, but they just dominated. The top team actually won the tournament. And for the first time in a long time, it was a Big Ten team. But man, that one rim, they're going to have to study that thing, dissect it, because there were some clanks on there that you don't see anywhere. And I'm going to tell you, playing in a football stadium has a lot to do with this poor shooting. And I know they want to get the fans in there.
The elevated court.
Yep. And I'll be honest, a buddy of mine got last-minute tickets Saturday. I went to the Illinois game. It was awesome. But it is so weird to have basketball in a football stadium. I can't imagine shooting. And so when I got home from the game, I was reading all about it, what have you, and the Michigan recap. And the fact that they said Dusty May had the players practice in the big house with a mobile hoop before the game so they could get used to that background. I know they had a tough shooting night tonight, but that's genius. Do everything you can. And it's just difficult because it's the biggest game of the year in an environment you've never played in. And it takes a lot. And luckily they got two giants in Mara and Johnson that can make up for some missed shots. And they took advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. The size was on full display, the size factor with Michigan. You would see UConn, even their big guys like Reed down in the paint. Even when he was close to the hoop, he would have to throw the ball up damn near to the ceiling just to get it over Mara and Johnson. These dudes were swatting everything. They were in their grills, playing extremely physical ball. And towards the end there, man, those last 5 minutes was fast, and everything was going back and forth and back and forth. I'm really happy that the refs really did not have an impact on the outcome of this when they were letting the boys play. It got physical. Dan Hurley, glasses were off, everything you could have expected from a championship. Just a really, really good championship game, even though both teams, struggled to hit a three-point. It was bricks all night from deep. And yeah, Yaxel too, man, struggled. You could tell the injury was impacting him. You saw him hit the bench late in the game there. He was frustrated. He comes back out, hits a big shot, shoots something, misses it, fouls up his own shot, puts it in, made a difference towards the end there, one last push. But that game really looked like two teams who are well aware of the situation, putting their nuts on the table, not leaving anything behind. So great game, fun game. I can't believe UConn made it interesting in that last minute.
They always do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They do not. They are a pesky team. They do not go away. But so to honor Michigan a little bit, what we'll do is kind of we're going to get into their big moments from this championship season, their dominant championship season. Like Joey's saying, the best team all year, most consistent, best team won the championship there this year. No doubt about it. So to kind of recap Michigan's championship season, let's kick off some of the biggest moments we were able to find from this year for them. So just off the bat, before the season even started, we got to acknowledge 4 of their 5 best players or starters were on a different team last year. Dusty May went out there and recruited the number 2 transfer portal class in the country. And not only did it win him a title, it earned him Big Ten Coach of the Year in his second year with Michigan. So especially like Yaxel Lendenborg, his journey is absolutely crazy. It starts at getting cut from his high school team mid-season for bad grades, goes and plays some JUCO ball, becomes a JUCO All-American, transferred to UAB, entered the draft process, and then ultimately chose to hang back another year to kick it with Michigan, chase a title, and in the process becomes the best player on the best team, Big Ten Player of the Year. And I don't think Michigan's winning that title without him. So crazy journey for him, Mara, all these guys, Johnson, all coming from somewhere else to help Michigan get this title. So insane transfer portal class for Michigan.
And kudos to Dusty May, right? He was the right guy for this job. Like on paper, you go, of course, Juwan Howard is going to be there for 15 years and get them to where they were. And they sucked with him. And he had his issues where he tried to, punch coaches. So this is a perfect hire, someone who built a program at FAU, brought them to a Final Four, was a buzzer beater away from playing in the national championship game, and knew how to recruit and had the guys bought in. And they built a really, really fantastic, legendary team. It's a great blueprint for anyone else who's looking to figure out how they're going to approach coaching.
Amaze blueprint per se. Perhaps?
Oh, very good.
Sorry, I'm capping on the dad.
Got to get one in.
Yeah.
All right, next one on this list here. Michigan reached the number 1 ranking for the first time since the Fab Five era in the 92-93 season. Only team in program history to win 25 of their first 26 games. So as we mentioned, just pure dominance from the jump, putting them up there with, arguably one of the most recognizable basketball teams in modern Michigan and modern NCAA history that you look to now can finally have an added new one where the 2026 team takes home that title.
Yeah. And it wasn't like a fluff schedule thing either. Like this might have been the best Big Ten has ever been in college basketball, and Michigan dominated the Big Ten and they dominated everyone. So like this is the furthest thing from like a Notre Dame in football type pansy ass schedule. This is a real schedule. Conference dominant was really good this year, as seen by Illinois in the Final Four. They had a couple teams make deep runs in the tourney. So this is the epitome of the best team, the best conference in the country. To keep going on this list, though, another big moment for Michigan this year was they lit up the Players Era Festival. So they beat San Diego State by 40. They beat at the time number 21 Auburn by 30, and they beat number 12 at the time Gonzaga by 40. It became the first time in college basketball history that a team outscored AP-ranked opponents by 30 or more in consecutive games. And if we know anything about how this tournament went, that's all they did all damn tournament long as well. The 40-point ass kicking on Gonzaga was Mark Few's worst loss in 902 games as a head coach, and it was the Bulldogs' worst defeat since 1990. Mind you, these Zags have been really good as long as Mark Few has been there, and they got handed their ass like a mid-major, like a D2 program against Michigan. That's how dominant they were. So that was another big milestone in the Michigan season, was that Player Era Festival dominance.
Next on our list here is historical Big Ten dominance. I know we've talked all about and used that word dominance this whole segment.
Yes, all you can use.
But finished the regular season 29-2, 19-1 conference record, program record for wins, and Big Ten record for conference wins. First Big Ten team to ever win all 10 conference road games. So, like you said, just a unreal year. And the fact that you look at this tournament, right, and you had 6 Big Ten teams in the Sweet 16, showing how tough that conference was, and they still kicked everybody's ass, and did so again in the Final Four, and then obviously this championship was close, but they finished where they wanted to be, and that was being the most dominant damn team in all of college basketball.
Honestly, would have been crazy if they didn't win it all. When you think about their season going through us, it's like, man, if they didn't win it all, that would have been horrifying end to like an absolutely crazy season. Last one here, obviously the NCAA March Madness tournament. Dare I use the word dominance again? I'm going to. Dominance.
Go for it.
5 tourney wins by an average of over 21 points is absolutely absurd. These are, again, we're in the tournament now. This is against Arizona's of the world, who we thought was going to be the Natty champ. Like you said, that Natty champ like preview game. It's the first team to ever score 90 points in 5 consecutive tournament games. Obviously, that comes to an end with the 69-63 championship win over UConn, which honestly, props to UConn for making this and keeping this as close as they did all game long, considering that Michigan steamrolled everybody in their path. Really goes to show, like, UConn, I don't think, a lot of people picked them to be in the championship, but I don't think anyone was like, oh yeah, they're a sure bet to be in the championship. You just pick their pedigree, you pick their coach, that they're always going to be competitive, where most people thought Michigan was like, oh yeah, a kind of more for sure bet to be in there. But man, did UConn hang in there. Michigan just shit pumped everybody in their way on the way there. And like I said, props to UConn. Honestly, man, Dan Hurley is just an incredible coach, one of the best ever. They killed it in in Big East play this year. The big Duke win, obviously. I mean, anything else you want to add on UConn, just to give them their flowers? I guess give them something for the run here.
Yeah, I agree with you on just the announcement's the wrong word because everyone knows it, but just how good of a coach Hurley is. I mean, it's impossible to get to the Final Four this many times, let alone championships, and he just knows how to do it. And I think what's really interesting from this year is he was really able to adapt, right? I look back at when they had the big matchup in New York against Illinois, and that game was led by Malachi Smith. I think Terrence Reed played, 10, 15 minutes. Mullins was making his debut, and it was the Malachi Smith show. And to now see it where it's flipped, and to win the title, Smith took that backseat role playing 10 minutes, and now Terrence Reed's at 30 minutes. Mullins comes out of the gate and now is at 35-minute now hero for them after that Final Four berth shot. And he learned how to adapt. And that's, I think, the biggest thing, because these college coaches are stubborn. And if they're winning a lot, they're not going to change anything. And so kudos to them for understanding the matchups, understanding the growth on their team to put them in a position to where, yeah, they're number 2 seed, and yeah, they've been dominant, but, no one probably had them in their Final Four or, frankly, winning the title. And the fact that they knocked off Duke, took out Illinois, and, were a few baskets away from a national championship against a team, like you said, averaged 90 and only scored 69 in this game. That's a hell of a job on that UConn side, even in the loss. So kudos to them. They'll be back. They'll be back.
They'll be back as long as Hurley's. I mean, if they would have won tonight, Hurley would become the 8th coach in college basketball history with 3+ titles. Like, already, the guy's he's barely just getting settled in practically at the school. So they're gonna continue to have another great recruiting class. They're not going anywhere as long as Hurley's around. I mean, just man, I was watching that game. I was like, man, he must get freaking intense at like a scary dude to piss off.
Yeah, he's like a Harbaugh. He just is like all scary all the time.
Do not want to piss him off in the slightest.
No. But when you win a title, are you like Dan Hurley's nuts and crazy and excited? So Dusty May was like the Jay Wright of this year, where he just said, "Yay, I won." Are you team get excited? My team just won, or I've been here before, I'm professional. Let's shake hands.
I guess that's what that was gonna be my point. It's like, depending where I am in my journey. If it's number 1, oh yeah, it's lights out partying with the boys. Like, I'm one of the boys for the night type of thing. If it's like my 2nd or 3rd, I've been here before. I don't know. Like, I'm the type of guy, like, I'm still gonna show a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get after it a little bit. I know Hurley's got that side to him too. And I know Dusty May is gonna turn up a little bit. He's gonna find his joy. Whatever his joy is, he's gonna find it tonight. But yeah, I'd be letting it loose. I'd be cutting a couple things, but I'd rip a bit if I won a championship. I'd be drunk. That's for sure. It would hurt the next day, absolutely,
but it could hurt.
The best type. Yeah. So unbelievable college basketball season. If E-Man was here, he would have taken us more into The women's side of everything, like we said, UCLA won it. They had a great game, lights out from 3. They took down a dominant South Carolina team, just absolute ass kickers there. After, of course, the Gino interaction with their coach and getting in her face and then storming off the court before handshakes. It was all types of drama at the end of the women's Final Four there. And surprisingly, UConn wasn't in it. UConn's women's, now you want to talk about dominance. Now that is maybe the most dominant basketball program of any basketball league, team, men's, women's, ever. Gino Auriemma, right? Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whatever he's done there, incredible. But they came up short this time. In South Carolina is dominant. UCLA gets there first. They put UCLA back on the tournament or on the national championship radar. First time in a couple decades that UCLA as a school has won any type of national championship. 40-something years, something like that. I can't remember. I put it in the Sidelinr newsletter if anyone listening cares to check it out. But all right.
And I think I think this is the only other basketball title right outside of Wooden, right?
That's her. Yeah, that's her mentor too. That was big mentor.
Mm-hmm. Like who are the coaches that won at UCLA? Oh, well, in women's basketball, obviously Corey Close now, and surely there was a coach in between them. And it's like, no, it's John Wooden.
It's just John freaking Wooden.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, pans out that he was a mentor to her. Like, of course he was.
Awesome.
And she's been there for a minute, so awesome to see UCLA. I mean, taking down South Carolina like that was I mean, that's no joke. That's arguably the most between them and UConn, impressive, really hard to beat program in the women's side right now. So props to UCLA for being able to take them down.
And I forgot one other college basketball note. Mike Malone going to the Tar Heels.
Oh, Tar Heels, that's right. Yeah. That was a little surprised by that one. Like wasn't expecting to see Mike Malone's name go into the Tar Heels. People on the internet told me that Kelce said Phil Jackson was going there. Those prediction markets took a lot of people's money on some total bullshit rumor, but that is how those prediction markets survive. Classic. They're probably gonna have an ad in this podcast too, and that's
really easily weird. Give it a week.
It's probably gonna be really weird now. So my bad. All right,
it's fascinating. It's an NBA guy going back to college, and it's funny because now in years past you go that might not work, but now college runs like a team, like an NBA team. There's free agency and budgets and wooing, and it's going to be interesting. But here they go. In football, you got Belichick, champion, and now in basketball, you got Malone, NBA champion. We'll see. We'll see if it works.
That's what I was going to say too. Like Malone won a championship in 2023. Like he is not far removed from a championship. No. I'm like, how are we here right now? Especially because like the Nuggets are have been a good team with him every single year. I mean, you call it the Jokic factor. I mean, he's been with the Nuggets since 2015. He's been there for a hot minute. I'm more like, how is he not just jumping around to one of the most whatever next coaching job in the NBA is? Like the Bucks are about to get rid of Doc Rivers. Thank God. Oh my God, he cannot get out of there soon enough. But I'm seeing some different names. Like never saw Malone's name, but the Bucks are gonna. I mean, there's a whole slew of things going on with Giannis and the Bucks right now. We don't got to get into it right now. Just a ton of drama. Is Giannis healthy? Is he not? He says he is, but everyone else is like he's not.
What does Kelce say?
Oh my God, Kelce and everyone else says Giannis is. I mean, yeah, everyone says he's gone, which it seems. I can't believe they let Doc Rivers of all people tear this
Hall of Famer Doc Rivers.
Yeah, and it's funny because they put up his when they put up Doc Rivers' trophy or his picture of his Hall of Fame thing, they had 2 trophies on there. One of them was the Kia midseason tournament that he won with the Bucks. The other one was his one with the Celtics from a decade plus ago, and that's it. Nothing else. He's got nothing else to his name in the NBA. This guy's a fraud, man. Huge fraud. And don't get me on my soapbox about this. He tanked the Bucks that were only ascending. Then Doc Rivers comes in and tanks the whole freaking thing. Soapbox, a big soapbox. But I'm glad it's finally over. It only cost us the end of Giannis's tenure in Milwaukee. Whatever. No big deal. All right. Let's kick over to a little bit of NFL now. We've been running the series of most underrated players at different positions heading into the season. So let's do that. Let's do wide receiver today. Joey, I'll let you go first for the most underrated wide receiver for the 2026 season. Who do you got?
All right. So I know you're all going to call me a homer, but I'm going with Luther Burden. on my Chicago Bears.
Mm.
This guy had unbelievable flashes last year when he finally was built into the offense in the second half of the year. And with DJ Moore gone now, he is, if not number 2, a 1.5 to 1, depending how Rome Odunze ascends in that offense. And there were questions of, why would you take Luther Burden in the draft? You had Moore, you had Rome. And then this year, you see, they're okay giving up DJ Moore, which means Luther Burden is taking that load. And last year, 47 receptions, 652 yards, 2 touchdowns. Besides the touchdowns, those are pretty much the same numbers that DJ Moore had. And what better system for a young receiver to grow in than with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams? And it's just could be really, really exciting. And he's a baby. He's only 22. He's got a lot of room to grow. And, there was an interesting part about how he kind of fell on the draft. And he had that really bad last year at Mizzou. And character issue questions, and then just had issues with his quarterback, with injury. But he could have been a first-round pick the year prior. But he fell. The Bears did their homework the following year and took him. And don't sleep on that 4.41 40 time, because that man is fast.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I think he could take the next step in Chicago. And the weird stat I saw today with him, so I don't know if it means anything. This could mean nothing, but it was a stat. I know you like stats. So I'm bringing it in. So since 2009, only a handful of rookie wide receivers have averaged 2.5 yards or more per route run on at least 60 targets. The names of those rookies since 2009 are Odell Beckham Jr., A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, and now, last year, Luther Burden. So, if he follows that trend, we're in business.
That'll do, Pig.
We are in business.
That'll do. I mean, yeah, again, I'll say it every time his name's come up. As a Packers fan, every time I hear Luther Burden's name, it makes me sick to my stomach that he's on the Chicago Bears. I was sick to my stomach when they drafted him because he was one of my favorites that draft class. I was on the camp that he's a no doubt first round talent, and anyone who got him after the first round, after the first half of the first round, was getting a steal. Turns out to be true. Had one of the most efficient rookie seasons in about a decade and a half, about 15 years. One of the most efficient rookie seasons from a wide receiver we've seen in terms of yards per route run. Entering year 2, like you said, now eating up all DJ Moore's targets. Got the right head coach, a great system. And he was just hyper efficient down the stretch. I believe, I don't remember exactly what the stat was. I wrote it down somewhere, but I think it was he had a 26.1% target rate while ranking 4th among all qualified catchers with a 2.83 yards per route on a 41% route share. So limited usage and was elite with what he had. The efficiency numbers are like so good that it's like you can't sustain that type of elite efficiency. And with the way Rome, and again, I like Rome Odunze a lot, but you want to talk about who is the X factor wide receiver on that Chicago Bears team, it's absolutely Luther Burden. He's just a more talented top to bottom type of player. I think you can do a lot more with him than you can do with Rome, especially from short yardage stuff, get the ball in his hands, let him run with it. And, I think, man, without DJ Moore there, sky's the limit. I'd be shocked if Burden finishes with less than 80 catches next year. And I think, looking at where he's sitting now in just general wide receiver rankings, where he's sitting with fantasy rankings, he's pretty much out to the top 25 from everyone's ranking considerations right now. And I have this feeling he's not finishing outside the top 25 from a statistical perspective as a receiver next year. So yeah, I think super underrated. It's a great call, even if it is the homer call. The efficiency's there, the usage is going to be there, the system's there, the quarterback is there, the target shares, everything is in place for him to just absolutely dominate. And you can't just all right, let's hone in on him or Rome or Colson Or, I mean, you can't hone in on any single one of these guys because of what the Bears have going on the play calling side. So I think that's only going to open up the field even more to all these guys. So, yeah, incredible rookie season. I hate that it's happening in a Bears uniform, but
And I love it.
yeah, I mean, he's an absolutely incredible football player. So,
But I'll give you your nice props. When I was doing some research for this, some of the other lists had Romeo Doubs up there as the player to watch for 2026. So
yeah, no, it was a great play by the Patriots. I mean, I don't know if I would have paid Romeo that much money, but like he's a really really good player. I don't think his ceiling is limited a bit more to a wide receiver two, a good wide receiver two. He's not a wide receiver one, and I really like Romeo a lot. But yeah, I mean him. I mean, I wanted to pick Matthew Golden here. I've done a lot of talking about Matthew Golden, so I didn't pick him, even though I think he's going to have a huge breakout season, just given the way last year went. Romeo Doubs is gone as well, and I think the Packers know they have a very tremendous talent in him. So he was an easy pick for me. I almost went the Homer route, but there's one guy I wanted to go with instead. And I know E-Man doesn't like when I talk about him, talk too highly of him because he doesn't like these fake guys, me talking about him as wide receiver ones. But Wan'Dale Robinson is the Titans wide receiver one right now. And that doesn't mean he's a elite wide receiver one. But again, Wan'Dale, still only 25 years old. He's a proven volume hog, entering his prime, reuniting with the coach, with Brian Daboll, who built him up throughout the Giants system. Now he's walking into the Tennessee Titans with the emptiest target share in the league behind with a year two quarterback in Cam Ward, who's got everything to prove. He's got the top draft pick pedigree. He needs a safety blanket. He needs a guy that he can trust a bit more, and that's Wan'Dale Robinson. So like I said, far from the wide receiver one size, but it's because he's 5'8", mind you. It's increasingly hard to argue that he's not capable of wide receiver one numbers. At worst, I believe his floor is one of the best wide receiver twos in the league. Like I said, obviously the Brian Daboll ties are huge here. Yeah, he was the one who kind of developed Robinson's talent and skill set in his system to where Robinson started as like a slot guy. And now that by the end of his tenure with the Giants, his target volume and where he was lining up kept increasing away from just the slot to more downfield stuff and finding different ways to use him. Like, oh, wait a second. This dude's not just some short yardage cat. He can be really effective. He became the shortest, funny stat, shortest wide receiver to ever eclipse 1,000 yards. And he did it on a 30% target share last year, which is 8th highest in football. So like I said, you can give him volume and he's going to be really, really good with it. And you don't got to sit here and tell me he's an elite wide receiver one. I would agree with you. But he has elite wide receiver one volume. He's one of 5 receivers with 130 or more targets in each of the last 2 years. One of 5. Think about the company he's in with that one. And that comes with only 3 drops. He's also got the elite yak, right? He had just under 400 yak yards last season. From a fantasy perspective, if you want to look at that way, finished top 15 in the PPR formats. And this year, again, just like Burden, he's getting ranked outside the top 25. Despite the fact he's the clear-cut number 1 in Tennessee, he's been a trusted third down target when the Giants just needed to get a bucket guy to move the sticks. Over 31% third down target share each of the last 2 seasons. I believe in 2024 at a 38%, which is damn near tops in football. Like, again, and where did Cam Ward struggle last year? It was accuracy. It was comfortability going to a check down guy or finding someone like the safety blanket, where Wan'Dale Robinson immediately steps into that role. And like I said, a role that for him has evolved from slot specialist to now he's effectively cooking DBs no matter where he lines up on the field. Like I said, his downfield target percentage has gone up. His routes lined up as an outside receiver has significantly jumped since he's entered the league. So I'm taking him as my guy. Like, I think he's being way too underrated. I think he's just like Luther Burden. I'd be shocked. I mean, he's already had a 90-plus catch season, 1,000-yard season. I'm thinking this year for Wan'Dale, why not 100 catches this year? Why not? So if I'm in a PPR league in fantasy football, oh, man, I'm overdrafting Wan'Dale Robinson. That's just kind of where I sit on. I'm not sure if you had any thoughts on him or anything, but
no, it's a smart pick, and I think that Brian Daboll factor is massive because the Titans were kind of a, forgotten team last year. Yeah, they have Cam Ward and some nice pieces, but Brian Daboll is the perfect offensive coordinator for that system. He may never be a great head coach, and some people just aren't.
Sure.
But what he's done track record wise as a coordinator, and even take the record out of it last year, what they did with Jackson Dart was impressive. And so if you got an offensive mastermind now coming in with Robert Saleh as head coach, this guy's really your offensive coach. Like, he's more than the coordinator. Like, Saleh's your defense and head coach, but Brian Daboll is literally your offensive head coach. And the fact that he has that experience with Robinson, can build him up, finally get a smart offensive mind to lock in with Cam Ward at quarterback, I think can be really, really successful. And it's going to be fun. I think that's a really good pick. So, like you said, if anyone out there is prepping for their fantasy draft now in April, we got two guys for you that maybe some good sleepers that aren't the Jamar Chases on the top of the board, but you can sneak in and get, and they'll have some nice points for you in your championship game.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I'm in a PPR league, I might just go running back, Burden, Wan'Dale. and find my quarterback and just win with that potentially. But I mean, yeah, the bald-headed tandem that they got going over there in Tennessee, everyone on that coaching staff is freaking bald, man. So they clearly, that's some kind of juju that they're going to be rolling. And the thing about Daboll, man, he did a lot of scouting on Cam Ward for potentially the Giants. Yeah. And so he's already kind of thought a lot about putting Cam Ward with Wan'Dale Robinson, and probably played a big factor into why they went out and gave Wan'Dale Robinson the bag this offseason. Brian Daboll probably had a big business. Like, hey, man, we did a lot of prep on like what Cam Ward and Wan'Dale Robinson would look like in the Giants offense. Like, didn't come to fruition, but like I've given a lot of thought to that, and I feel very good about where this is at. Let's give this guy the bag. And obviously I coached him the last couple of years, and I know how good he is and seen him evolve as a player. So yeah, very excited about that one. Both those, well, I'm not excited about Luther Burden when, being in the NFC North, but excited for them as players. Really, really good. All right. Over to baseball. We'll touch on it quick. Red Sox. We're going to do some Red Sox angry fan tweets because their fans are chanting to sell the team. About a week and a half into the season, they are struggling. One of the worst teams in baseball, surprisingly. I think everyone predicted the Red Sox would finish as about an 80 to 90 win team. And right now that's looking like a really, really, really tall task. So is sell the team the right thing? Is it the justified thing? And for those not too tapped into this story, I'll give you some context here. So as I said, through 10 games plus now, one of the worst teams in baseball. Monday, April 6th, they absolutely blew it against the Brewers. They started up 3-0 and then ended up losing 8-6 with a couple infield errors, which has continued to haunt this team. Their hitting started at a league worst. Now it's climbed a little bit. They're hitting about 230 as a team now, still about middle of the pack-ish, but it started really, really bad. They're scoring very few runs. They're whiffing and striking out at a league high rate. You got Trevor Story and offseason additions and Wilson Contreras and Caleb Durbin have been pretty much useless at the plate. Their rotation, surprisingly enough, ranks towards the bottom of baseball in ERA, despite all their efforts to improve things behind Garrett Crochet as their number one. They're surrendering a ton of hits, lots of runs, lots of homers. But the fans are really here pointing. They're completely done with ownership, essentially. John Henry the guy's acting like he runs the Pittsburgh Pirates or some small market team with just how conservative he has been with spending money. While they continue to just rake in profits. I don't remember who it was. There's a really good sports coverage guy who went and did this big thing on how the Red Sox are just raking in dough right now, and they're not spending on their team. It trickles down to Alex Cora is getting roasted for the lineups he's putting out there, his management decisions. And I think the biggest thing that I saw from fans, the sentiment that really sounded to resonate, that they were really pissed off was where this started was they ruined their relationship with Rafi Devers in the name of making Alex Bregman, now Cubs third baseman, their third baseman. So they went off and traded Rafi Devers for a package that centered around getting Kyle Harrison and James Tibbs. Well, after that, they let Alex Bregman walk 7 months later over a no-trade clause. So then instead, they went and gave the Bregman money to Ranger Suarez, who, as a pitcher, started 2 games. It's pitched 2 games, 8.64 ERA. They, despite like they already filled up their rotation, they went and made a trade with Milwaukee to get Caleb Durbin, who has one of the lowest OPSs in baseball so far as their new third baseman. Where, remember how I mentioned Kyle Harrison? Well, they traded Kyle Harrison to the Brewers, who is now dominating for the Brewers with 2 games, a 2.61 ERA. Durbin was like the last starter in baseball to get a hit. I think he started like 0 for 18, something just totally miserable. And I mentioned James Tibbs. Well, they went and traded him too. And they didn't just trade him, they gave him to the freaking Dodgers. And he has 7 home runs in 9 AAA games to start with the Dodgers. So the rich just keep getting richer there. And what did they give him up for? They gave him up for 6 games of Dustin May last season, who had a 5.4 ERA. And then, of course, like that all spiraled. So it's been bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. So I guess before we get into the fan tweets, Joey, I give you all that, and you probably know some things as well. What's kind of like the move? Is selling the team the right thing? Do they just need to make some trades? What has to happen for the Red Sox to get on track here?
You know, it's tough because, right, how do you argue with an owner that's won 4 World Series and broke the curse?
Yeah.
But there is a reality check here, right? I remember dealing with the same thing in Chicago, where they finally got an owner in Tom Ricketts that spent and redid everything, and they won. And then after they won, and I know the pandemic happened in between then and now, but they said, oh, we're going to now be a small market team and not spend a lick. And now they're finally doing it again. And so I wonder if they're just being really, really selective when they spend versus how they spent in the past. So I don't know. I feel like in baseball, especially with the Red Sox, they've made a lot of errors, but I think it's hard for them to be cheap. Like, they're not one of those cheap organizations historically. So it may be more of a development issue, GM, president type of change versus ownership. But it also depends what the priority is, right? John Henry owns Liverpool. He owns the Pittsburgh Penguins. He has stakes in NASCAR and the Red Sox. And it's like, is he over diversified to where he's not focusing in on the Red Sox like him or his group used to which in that case, Red Sox fans have a right to be upset. But I think it is going to be probably a leadership change under the owner. But this, again, is why we're going to a lockout next year, because you have rich owners and powerful organizations that are choosing to nickel and dime all these players and make these wrong moves that don't work. And this started, I mean, I know they've had their ups and downs for the last, decade. My opinion on this, where the Red Sox fans started losing their love for him, even after 4 World Series, was when they traded Mookie Betts. I feel like that was a turning point where the fan base was like, this is our guy. What the hell are you doing trading our best player and our fan favorite, someone we're supposed to build around, to then just ship him off to LA where he becomes a World Series champion? Obviously, he's a great player still, but that was kind of the breaking point. And I don't know how much ownership had to do with that versus the upper management, but that's where this thing splintered, and it's gone downhill ever since. And Boston's a very lucky sports city. They have a lot of championships and a lot of wins, but that also comes with a lot of expectations. And right now, that is what their fans are demanding. And I know it's hard to change owners, but they're, they get fun and angry out there in Boston. So maybe something will happen.
Well, that's what I said. I think the sell the team is a vibe, not a solution. And I also think it's a fantasy to think that's going to happen. I don't think someone's walking in with this is paycheck to do that.
Right.
But where I think, I mean, they got the World Series, but they are not making the playoffs enough. Not even close, especially with how competitive that division is. They're going in the opposite direction of everyone. While the rest of the AL East is loading up on bats, well, the Boston Red Sox are deciding, well, we're going to commit to small ball and a pitching first identity. while everyone else is going towards a hitting first, we're going to have crushers and like stacked lineups, and we'll find a way to make pitching work with prospects. Maybe we'll go sign a big guy. Like they're taking the opposite philosophy. And that's why I think Breslow, the GM, is going to get canned. Fans want him gone as bad as they want the owner gone. And he's a big reason behind all of these just terrible, terrible moves. So I think there's an accountability problem. They don't know how to roster build correctly. They don't, it's like they're unaware of the rest of what the AL East is doing, and their strategy to compete in it is totally opposite from what everyone else is trying to do. And look where they find themselves. And they made all these investments in pitching with Sonny Gray, behind Crochet, Ranger Suarez, and there's a couple other guys that just have not worked out so far. And even when they got their best lineup out there right now, it's not doing anything. Funny enough, it's what's his name? Wilyer Abreu, the guy for Venezuela who hit like a walk-off home run, big player for the World Baseball Classic. He's the only one carrying the whole damn lineup to start. Like he was hitting 400 while everyone else is hitting 100. So it's pretty much just him, and all these pitching investments they made, like they're getting chased from games early. They're getting just tossed. So their strategy has gone totally backwards. Even when they put their best guys out there, it's still not working. So I think, and we can get into the fan tweets, what they got to say, that will kind of like encapsulate it all. But yeah, I'm surprised by it. Really surprised. And I think a lot of people are surprised where the Red Sox are at right now. And
I mean, growing up, it was Red Sox Yankees always. That was the marquee matchup. That Sunday Night Baseball. Yep. It's everything. And then after they went to the ALCS in 21, they've only made the playoffs once since, and it's just weird. And the fact that, I mean, kudos to the Blue Jays and all their growth, but when you say that sentence where it's not Red Sox Yankees, it's Yankees Blue Jays, that just shows you the change. It's just it's very, very different. Even the Orioles are
I was gonna say
and really, really good. And it's just different. They're playing on the brand and not on current success. And it's hurting them fans.
Yep, they're gonna have to. I mean, if Breslow's even got a job as GM in that front office by mid-season point by the trade deadline, they gotta do something, man. Like something. I know they tried this awesome, but they gotta go get a bat, and they might need to go get 2 bats and figure out a way to make it happen. I mean, I like Caleb Durbin a lot as a Brewers fan. I think he'll come around. He was awesome for the Brewers as a rookie last year, but he's like, this is baseball now. After your rookie season, we really find out what you are. Teams just, once they get that first offseason on you, there's a reason why sophomore slumps exist across sports. Now we've got a season of tape on you, and we know your tendencies and where you're good and bad. Like even with like Julio Rodriguez with the Mariners, like highly, highly touted prospect. His sophomore year sucked because teams started to figure him out. So that's where I'm a little worried that they really went all in on like the Caleb Durbin move, where it's like, well, it's a sophomore year now. Teams are going to have this guy a bit more figured out than last season. And maybe it was the move to like help with stability with infielding, but it ain't working right now. They need a lot of things to go right, like so much so that I think they got to make a drastic move. Approaching the deadline. But let's get into some fan tweets. What do the Red Sox fans got to say about it? We'll kick off, go back and forth on these. So the first one, if anybody knows this, the Savannah Bananas, not real baseball. Like they just dance around the field and play baseball. They got talented dudes, though. I'm not gonna lie. So there's a post of the Savannah Bananas baseball player throwing a ball from home plate all the way to the outfield wall or over it in the Astros Stadium. And then with the caption, like, could the Savannah Bananas beat the Rockies? And then you got a Red Sox fan saying, I'm not even joking when I say this. They would beat the Red Sox by double digits right now. And that kind of sums up a lot of things. What's next?
Rough. Next one. The key to beating the Red Sox is just hitting the ball on the ground. How many years is their infield defense going to look like this?
Yep, like I said, 2 errors against the Brewers.
Buckner ball, baby, behind the bag.
Oh, man, that guy's having a rough year, that umpire Buckner. Rough start to his year. All right, next one. We got, someone calling out. James Tibbs has hit another home run. He started 7 home runs in his first 8 AAA games for the Dodgers. Mind you, this is the guy the Red Sox traded for 6 terrible games of Dustin May. Fan says, what John Henry, the owner, and Greg Breslow, the GM, have done to the Red Sox is going to take a decade to recover from. Literally every move they have made has gone against them. Sox got this guy in the Devers deal, James Tibbs, and then traded him to the Dodgers, of all effing teams, for 6 starts of 6 ERA from Dustin May. Hell, living in hell.
Mm-hmm. Next one up here. It's unacceptable that John Henry won't spend and that this is what we're left with. Just complete, utter disarray.
Sums it up. Barely spending. Yep. Next, Craig Breslow is like the Nico Harrison on PEDs for what he did to this organization. Nico Harrison, the disgraced Mavericks GM. Apparently, the fans think Craig Breslow is worse than that. All right.
How did people not foresee how absurd it was to act like Anthony was the next Mike Trout? He may well be, but relying on him as an anchor is nuts. Nuts!
And it is. The guy's 21 years old. And you are making him the focal point of your entire team right now with like nothing else really that solid around him. So yeah, I think that's it is nuts. Next one, little profanity here. Fuck Breslow. He single-handedly fucked this team. Yeah, so Boston people got like a temper to begin with kind of thing, like short temper. And you go search Red Sox Twitter, it's a lot of that sentiment. Those all kind of summed up exactly where Red Sox fans are at with this team right now. But yeah, I don't know. They got a long way to go. They got a lot of things to figure out. They are a long way from 500, and it's early into the year. Early. Anything else to add, or should we move on?
Only just other baseball nugget. I wanted to give a shout out to Joe Adell on the Angels for those 3 home run robbing grabs in a single game. I don't know if we've ever seen anything like that. That was absurd. And then they won 1-0. So he literally won them the game. If you're averaging WAR right in games, ta-da!
Yup.
Joe Adell is Mr. WAR. Crazy
first ever Gatorade ice bath for a defensive performance. I'm pretty sure of it.
Real.
Yeah, I mean that last one too. Now there's an iconic picture that every Angels fan is going to post in their basement of him standing in the bleachers on the right field wall, holding the ball up that he had robbed the home run. Someone caught a perfect picture directly behind Joe Adell, like parted seas. He's in the middle, holding up the ball in the bleachers. Was just a legendary, epic picture. If I'm an Angels fan, that's in the man cave immediately. But yeah, that was insane, man. And then, of course, Torrey Hunter. All-world baseball outfielder once upon a time. Great, Gold Glover himself was in the Angels dugout for that one. Just in awe of what he was witnessing for that one. And that's coming from the best.
And that's a fan base that deserves to be angry at their team, because you want to have posters in your room. It should be Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani carrying a World Series trophy. Instead, it's Joe Adell making those plays in 2026.
I mean,
no shade to Joe Adell. But that's the iconic photo you have of this Angels run of the last 10 years, not the 2 arguably greatest players in modern baseball history that you wasted.
Yeah, and oh man, I'm blanking on his name now. The third baseman that they brought in too. Oh gosh, that's gonna bug me. Hold on, it's what was his name? I don't remember. Oh, Anthony Rendon. Rendon. So there was once upon a time you had Rendon, Shohei, Mike Trout. Well, Mike Trout could never stay healthy, and that's really the damn shame of it all. But they built that team to run up a couple World Series, and it never came to fruition. Obviously, Shohei goes across the street to the guys in blue. So yeah, I feel bad for that fan base. Like they had everything at their fingertips and did nothing with it. Damn shame. All right, let's go into basketball now. Pro basketball to wrap it up, because Joey's Bulls, big things happening in Bulls world, big things today. So, Joey, why don't you tell us what happened there? How you feel about it?
They are, I think, still dancing in the streets behind me in Chicago at wee hours of the evening. But the Bulls finally fired their president and GM, Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley, and they've been in basketball hell for God knows how long. And long overdue, but they finally made the change with a few games to go. And it's just a fascinating case study for Bulls fans, because if you guys remember the All-Star game, I would say right before COVID, it was in Chicago. And they were interviewing Zach LaVine, it was on Stephen A. and all of them. And the fans in the background are chanting, fire Garpax, which was the regime before this, John Paxson and Gar Forman. And they were the most hated, vilified executives in the city. And now you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Because this group over the last 6 years was terrible. Forget the under 500 record. They made one real playoff with one playoff victory against your Bucks. Everything else was a play-in. They're going on 4 straight years without making the playoffs. They never built a direction. They built a team of all used parts. They never drafted well. And it's basketball hell. And you know, I know we're all used to our teams having losing streaks, and losing's a part of sports. But what I was really thinking about today was there's a difference between losing and understanding that and dealing with that as a fan and apathy. And the Bulls now, for the last 6 years, have become in the category of apathy. Nobody cares. They're irrelevant. And that's the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, Derrick Rose. Irrelevant right now in the basketball picture. They have nothing going for them. Mm-hmm. And the brand is there, sure. It's the biggest selling t-shirt abroad and the shoe and whatever. But competitively, they have nothing. So it's just a long time coming. And, you know, it's funny. I've been reading a lot of articles on it. And Sporting News has an article today from Stephen No, who covers the NBA. And the title of the article is Arturas Karnisovas' firing was way overdue. Getting rid of the worst GM in the NBA gives Bulls new hope. That's a national writer. Like, objective. But objectively, like, this just was a disaster. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I don't know. You could jump in whenever you want. This is my rant session, but it's just...
It's your team.
It goes back to there was so much hope. They finally got, you know, Karnisovas was from the Jokic dynasty, and he's going to turn it around. But then they draft Patrick Williams first in their first pick. Mm-hmm. And then they re-signed him for $90 million.
Hey, you know how many people are going to say who?
Right. Then they trade Lauri Markkanen and Daniel Gafford for nothing.
Yep.
They trade Caruso. They do all their trades. They get no first-round picks back. Mm-hmm. They draft Dalen Terry, who can't play a lick. Holding on to their core too long with Levine and all them. And I think, you know, one of the bigger nails in the coffin was what happened in this deadline. And someone made a joke on it on Chicago radio here that was like, the organization finally picked the right direction to tank. And they couldn't even tank. They traded all their players away. They got no first-round picks in return. And they bring back Anthony Simons from the Celtics. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, welcome to the team. You have a fractured hand we didn't know about. Okay, thanks for studying that. Out. Rob Dillingham, hurt. Jaden Ivey, first, hurt. And then second, has his entire, as we've all seen, mental breakdown over the past 2 weeks that ended up in his release. And I think that was just the nail in the coffin here. It's you tried to do the right thing. You didn't get anything back to build on in return. And one of the guys truly is detrimental to the organization. And I hope Ivy gets the help he needs and everything off the court. But this was an absolute dumpster fire. And when the whole league is laughing at you, you had to act, even if there's less than 2 weeks left in the year, which is bananas now, because now you have to find a whole new front office in time for the draft.
Oh, that's true.
But
better now than after the draft, though. Like, go get your guys and let them build. But I mean, it doesn't help that I would assume in that Dillingham trade goes over to Minnesota and is balling out.
He's awesome. He's a great player.
Just killing it for the Timberwolves. And you got Dillingham useless for you. I mean, yeah, 224 and 254 record from this front office. It was a mess. They missed 4 straight postseasons. And man, all you got to do is go on Shams' tweet about the firing of both of them. And it's just loaded with Bulls fans in the comments saying, let's fucking go. Smell you later. Rest in piss. You won't be missed. Hitler is dead. I mean, all these just crazy things. Some people are thanking Jaden Ivey, actually,
I saw that.
which is crazy. What else we got here? We got someone taking a picture of the screenshot of Meek Mill Dreams and Nightmares intro with the quote, "I used to pray for times like this." You got a guy breaking free of shackles. Man, we should have done a Bulls fan tweet on this stuff. Every Chicago Bulls fan, doing these different types of dances. I mean, good Lord, I have not. Yep. I mean, this is one of those things that truly, fan bases are usually at each other's throat a little bit. This is one of those moves that unites the fan base entirely.
Big time.
Everyone wants him gone. I think
they're the laughing stock of the league right now.
Yep. I mean, maybe this will be the time that they finally develop a clear direction. I don't know. I'm seeing some stuff that like fans think it's just the musical chairs in the front office is never going to end. Will they ever get the guy right? He was a nightmare, but like, do we have a lot of faith that who's the owner, the
Reinsdorfs?
Is it his kid that runs the show now?
Yeah. So he runs the White Sox and his son runs the Bulls.
Yes. Okay. So I don't know, like, we can kind of wrap this up as like, as a Bulls fan, what's your faith in them? And then like, I guess, what would you do with like Billy Donovan? Do you try to keep him as coach? Do you move him up? Like the Celtics did with Brad Stevens? Like what does the Bulls fandom seem to think this needs to happen now?
Yeah, it's tough because nobody trusts Michael Reinsdorf, the owner, to make the right call here. And especially when they've had their bad history with the White Sox and the other sport, it's tough. So they first got to figure out what order they want to go in, right? Are they clearing house with everything? A new GM and president come in and go, we're bringing in our new coach and everything? Or is Billy Donovan staying? And I feel bad for Billy. He's been given horrible string of talent since he's been in Chicago, but I still think he's a pretty good coach. So it maybe empowers him to have more say in this next hire, which is ass backwards, but I guess it works. And we'll see. I think you need an aggressive, proven winner. Because right now, like we talked about the Red Sox, the ownership is probably not going to change as much as you want it to. So you got to get it right in this hire. And if it brings someone in like, hey, go after Bob Myers, who orchestrated the entire Golden State run, who knows how to reset an organization from top to bottom, do it. Because the Bulls, for the longest time, as big of a name as they are, were ridiculously behind in modern NBA. They had the smallest analytics department. They had the smallest player development departments. They didn't adapt because they were the Bulls, and they'd done it right. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the last championship was 30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Like the 90s Bull, Michael Jordan's, an old man now. Like he's not elderly, but he's like
running a NASCAR team at this point and winning.
Right. But like all those guys, like they're at the age where your parents go, you know what? I think I'm going to get close to retiring. Like that's how long ago that was. Because it's been since I've been born, since you've been born. And so you got to get someone that can shake it up. It's like, I look at it with the Bears, right? People are hating on Kevin Warren for a lot of things as president, and rightfully so. But it's the first time they ever went outside of the organization and brought someone in that knew how to run a professional sports team. Not from the family, not from the loyalty circles that they have, but comes in and goes, here's how you're marketing the team. Here's how you're building it. Here's how you're scouting. And the Bulls need that. They need a new voice in there that has experience building a champion. You have to have someone with that goal because for the last, 15 plus years, they haven't been close. Since Derrick Rose got injured in 2012, that's been it. And so they so they have to go strong with someone like you could take a chance on a up and comer at GM or assistant GM, like someone from the Thunder or the Grizzlies or the Celtics under the Stevens tree. Like there's a couple names floating out there, But the top, you got to have a Bob Myers type guy that's built something that is aggressive and understands the modern NBA.
Yeah.
You have to, because you're so far behind to where nobody cares right now in one of the biggest basketball cities in the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was just looking at some roster just now, and the fact that they got nothing out of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Vukovic, and Lonzo is absurd. And I know like injuries makes him like DeMar DeRozan alone is like an incredible player, one of the best mid-range shooters the game has ever seen. Zach LaVine's as a baller, but like they definitely had pieces. It never worked out because they kind of sat on it. They didn't do anything. They kind of just sat in place until it was too late. The time had passed. They didn't do what they had to do, and they just let any championship window close almost before it even opened. Like it seemed like when they went and got DeRozan, that was like the move. It was like, oh, we're kind of opening a window here now. Let's go do something. And then they did absolutely nothing with it besides let it just melt away, become absolutely nothing. No runs. So
it's crazy. And the excuse though is, oh, well, wait till LeBron's out of the conference and then we'll be good. It's like, okay, he's gone and you're still not good, and everyone else got good around you. Like even when Lonzo Ball was hurt, right? Mm-hmm. Same with Derrick Rose. Like they, instead of making an aggressive move, they waited it out, but it never got better. So you just lost 2 years of time. And that's my biggest takeaway to close on this is like the Bulls just wasted 6 years of our lives as basketball fans. Like you can't get that back. Mm-hmm. And it's incredibly aggravating because it's just like, what was the point of the last 6 years? What did they accomplish? What did they do to now blow it up? What does that mean for fandom? I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, at least when I was growing up, they didn't win titles, but they were in the playoffs every year. They were relevant. They were in the national conversation. To where now, if you ask any kids growing up, right, there's no tie to the Bulls because they haven't done anything in almost a decade.
Yep.
Like there's a disconnect now with fans, the next generation of fans, because of their poor approach to team building and contention. And that sucks because I have great Bulls memories as a kid, and the people below me don't.
Even better. Well, I guess older than you. Yeah.
Older than you. Right. But the people younger than me don't, because there's no affiliation. It was the same with the Bears for a while. Like they were so bad for so long. People were like, all right, I'm going to root for the Chiefs because they're fun and the Bears suck. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the Bulls now. There's no association. Yeah, they sell out every game. Okay. But it's all corporate and, half off school tickets. But
yeah,
it's rough. So hopefully it's time for change and a rebuild that will work. E-Man said last time I've been lucky this year with my teams. So maybe the Bulls can be included in that, which would be shocking. But I will take it.
We'll see. Is that everything you had to get off your chest on it?
Yeah.
Feel better now?
I think so.
Okay.
It just proves I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
No, like the fact that they get rid of these two guys means, okay, all of us fans aren't crazy.
Oh.
They see finally what we see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fans are. I was just scrolling Twitter as you're talking. It's universal rejoicement. Yeah. Every meme and GIF you could find in the book of rejoice, happy, break free, whatever you want to use was used. Everyone feels like a weight was just lifted off their shoulders. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it seems like it's one of those things that it could hard to do worse, but I think I still have seen some sentiments like until you get rid of the rot at the root with the ownership, who knows? Honestly, who knows?
That's the tough part.
But all right, that's another episode of Chalk Talk Social. Until Friday, y'all have a great. I don't even know Joey. What the hell do we watch this week? What's on TV? Well, I guess we got baseball. I mean, we're down to it's baseball and the very end of basketball season. If anyone cares about that, the West and East races are both a bit dramatic and chaotic right now. So might be worth tapping into a game. You might see players try a little bit on defense in the NBA. Worth a shot. Who knows? But until Friday, we'll talk more about it then. We'll see you.